At Lanier College, they have the finest security, the best teacher-student relations, no fraternity hazing, strictly enforced curfews.
Shh. What was that?
And a killer. He's come back. Final exam.
When are you going to realize that the whole world isn't made of psychopaths?
There's a murderer around campus killing people.
Some may pass the test.
Lisa!
God help the rest.
Courtney! It's me, Ravis! Let me in! Courtney!
Final exam. He's come back.
Before the initiation begins, the subjects are studied. Even their dreams are recorded. Before the initiation begins, the testing areas are selected. The sorority house, the sanitarium, the empty shopping mall.
Delta Rho Chi.
And just before the initiation begins, a toast is required.
And to being young, staying young, and dying young.
The initiation,
Delta Rho Chi be with you.
a fraternal tradition for over 100 years,
Delta Rho Chi.
created for only one purpose:
Pleasant dreams.
the initiation, the ceremony that will never die, as long as new blood is pledged.
Delta Rho Chi. Never will die.
All right, with that, we are live. This is Slasher Stream episode 7. I am, of course, Chris C. I am the Slasher Dude, followed by my Slasher Bro there on my my right, aka my left here. That's Mr. Darren Burrows of Subjective Perspective Collective. How you doing today there, Darren?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Going back to these two slashes I've not seen in a long time, so it was like, well, they were well worth another revisit. So yeah, looking forward to this, as I always say.
Yeah, this is from the heyday. Oh, really? It's just it's really good for what it is. Yeah, like I say, it's the peak time for slashers, really, 1980 to 1984. And we got, of course, Final Exam from 1981, and then a film that surprised me quite a bit, The Initiation from 1984, with the dude from Return of the Living Dead, and that is Mr. Clu Gallagher. Or Gulliger, I believe.
Yeah,
I
very good
recognized
cast.
him, of course. And then an actress in Daphne Zuniga, I believe her name is. Of course, I remember from Melrose Place and other TV shows from back in the day, and a bunch of pretty ladies. And yeah, good stuff. And then, of course, Final Exam from 1981. Not everybody's favorite slasher, but it's a fun one, and it has some very disturbing kind of stuff in it for its time. So it's very interesting. It's very cool.
Oh, yeah. Final Exam gets shit on by everyone, and I don't know why. Because I've got a little bit of history with that film, which we'll come on to when we mention it. But it was so hard to get hold of for a long time. Final Exam was like a lost slasher at some point. All you could do was get hold of the Embassy VHS. I'm not sure. I think it was the Embassy in America as well. And that was so obscure. I remember I just got lucky on eBay one day.
Yeah.
Managed to snag it for like a reasonable amount of price. But yeah, so before it came out on DVD, it was pretty much unheard of. No one was mentioning it at all, you know.
Very, very, yeah, very cool. Like I said, it came out in 1981. It, like I said, doesn't get talked about. It was filmed in North Carolina, in a community college. So very interesting stuff. Real quick, since this is Slasher Stream, their birthdays were on October 15th. Camilla and Carrie Moore. Who are they? They're the Doublemint twins from Friday the 13th Part 4. So those pretty ladies had their birthday about 10 days ago. So happy birthday to both of them. That's very cool knowing about that. So some slasher trivia for you there. Of course, Friday the 13th Part 4, my favorite in that franchise. Okay, there, Darren. Let's start off this Slasher Stream episode 7 with a Final Exam, 1981, directed by Jimmy Houston. Also was the writer, yes, and did screenplay for Running Scared and did Dark Sunday and other films. Stars Cecile Baghdadi as Joel S. Rice, Deanna Robbins, Timothy L. Rayner as the killer, because you do see him through here. And yeah, filmed in. My handwriting is terrible, so excuse me here. Isotherma Mall Community College, North Carolina, USA. So with a budget of $374,000. So
right,
it's a good independent slasher, to tell you the truth.
It is, yeah. It made 1.3 million at the box office, so it did, pretty well. I remember it coming out, obviously, in the likes of Friday the 13th, Part 1 and Part 2, because I remember looking online and you see pictures of it up, being advertised in these theaters, probably, I think it was regional theaters, but it did play with the likes of, Friday the 13th.
Yes.
And it was surprisingly, it was ranked number 7 in the US box office for June 1981.
That was a huge year. It was a huge year. Stuff like this was coming out. Maniac was out, I believe. These films, like I say, this was the slasher boom. Great kind of films to look at, what have you. And boy, what a time to be alive. It's too bad I was practically like 2 years old or something like that, or 1 year old when this came out. So
I mean, I was only 10, so we would get to watch them on VHS but that was our only way, and they were all beat up copies, and I know people moan now about the VHS quality, but there's something nostalgic about that.
No, there is. Nostalgia is a big drug for stuff like that. I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's a dead format, but yeah, we just cling to that because the covers will look so cool. Like you said, it's the same. Same as this one right here. It's just like,
I love that cover.
This is straight taken from Friday the 13th. You can just tell, just with the whole shadow and stuff like that too of the killer. So
right. So we've got to get into it. The whole film is pretty much a Halloween knockoff. But I say that affectionately. I don't say it as a bad thing.
Yes.
The music, is completely ripping off John Carpenter's film.
Music's quite good for this. Yeah, the score's quite good for this.
The look of the killer, the actual, I don't know, the way it's shot kind of reminds me of Halloween as well, with all the shadows and the killer appearing here and there and disappearing and all that. But no, this has always been one of my favorites. And yeah, people do actually completely shit all over it. And I've always been I don't understand why. And a lot of their reasoning is they say nothing happens in the first, half of the film. But I don't see that at all. We might not get the murders as we get, in the second half. But I don't really see. I see all the, hijinks with the students and all that. It's kind of a bit like an Animal House kind of rip off at the start.
Yeah. Like the characters are likable, in my opinion. Very likable characters. That's the thing. You can give me a body count easily, but you have to make me like the characters. And for both these films that we're going to talk about, I like these characters, and that's what kind of we'll of course give our ranking. What we think about this film from a 1 to 10, and this would be a second watch for me, so I may have different opinions on this. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where you come with my ratings as well.
Yeah.
But so opening up the film, we get this kind of, it's not Lover's Lane. I know they're packed up on campus, but you've got this young couple and they're getting it on. But it's great because it's all done in just shadows. You know, we kind of see the killer outside the car, and then the killer jumps on the roof, which is just great. You know, and you got the whole knife coming through the roof and all
That's
that.
where I see where you get the whole Michael Myers thing from Halloween, the first one with the sanitarium. And him
Yeah,
coming out of
exactly.
there.
Yeah. So you've got obviously said, there's a big Halloween influence. Interesting about that first scene. So the couple in the novelization, so there was a novelization came out round about the same time as the film.
Oh,
And the couple in the opening scene in the car were actually bigger characters in the book. And they actually had a backstory and they actually became part of, the kind of the cast in a way.
okay.
But for the film, they just ironically only kept them for that opening scene. But yeah, it's a great way to start the slasher film off,
These slasher books are making a comeback. I have some more modern slasher books and stuff like that, but Terrifier has a book. Like these novelizations of these books, it's just kind of cool to see. That's the part of nostalgia I kind of like when you miss out from that as a kid, because usually you kind of don't care. It's a whole paperbacks from hell type of scenario.
Right.
And just going back to that. But yeah, it's so cool, like knowing about that. I did not know there was actual novelization of this. Yeah, that's pretty cool there, Darren.
Yeah, and in the novelization as well. So Courtney so in the film, which we'll come on to in a bit, she goes up this clock tower. But in the novelization, she makes friends with an owl, which is kind of bizarre. So there is kind of differences. I'd love to get hold of that, but it's way, way out of print.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a few bizarre little differences in it. But we mentioned the score, like the piano score, I just love with this film as well.
So damn good. There's a piano scene in here that's done very well too, in my opinion.
There is, yeah. And what Chris mentioned, the characters as well. So you've got Joel S. Rice. He plays Radish. He's kind of, I don't know about you. He's
so
kind
good.
of he's very camp. I don't know if he's
very campy, the way he runs, the way he acts.
It's never mentioned that he's
this
gay
right
character.
Here from Scream. Yeah, this Scream Factory disc talks to him.
Right.
And,
yeah.
And stuff like that. Yeah, they just asked him to do it. Like he had no experience. That's what's kind of cool about this. You put him in here, and I think he kind of killed it with a lot of his stuff. I liked him. I thought he was hilariously good.
It reminds me a lot of Scream as well, because he knows all the serial killers. He knows.
Yes, he does.
Charles Whitman and
and
all that.
Wes Craven did his research on stuff like this too. May long rest in peace. Great horror director. So yeah, so like a lot of proto Scream slashers here.
Yeah. I was surprised to see Baghdadi, who plays Courtney. He'd never done anything really apart from this. But Joel S. Rice, I did want to say, he did go on to a massive career. He's directing and producing TV films, lots of Christmas films.
Did he play the jock, or am I thinking of somebody else?
No, that Radish. I was going back to the Radish.
Okay. Okay.
The jock. There's a great character called Wildman.
Yeah.
He's brilliant, and he's never done anything else apart from this film.
Okay.
I was shocked.
I thought maybe he did something else. Okay, but it looks like he was meant to kind of play that role. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Massacre at Central High, a little bit with the way the characters act and stuff like that too. But definitely an Animal House feel to it for what it is.
It's kind of a cross between Animal House and Friday the 13th or Halloween, isn't it? This film, but some other members of the cast. So you've got Sherry Willis Birch. She plays Janet. She was actually in Killer Party, which is a really good one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend people.
Yeah, I need to check that out
for this. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I mentioned that the first scene. So the whole cast now of the film, they're all these students that are all preparing for their final exam. Hence the name of the film. And a couple of the guys are trying to cheat, and they've worked out this elaborate plan where, they're going to stage this school shooting, which would never go today. On
that first time seeing that, I honestly thought that they were doing that. Actually thought that was happening. That was a total mind capital F in that, where I'm like, oh, it's a joke. You could not get away with that in films nowadays.
No.
So that's for that scene in general, that should be put up to me in, they do top 10 scenes in horror, you know what I mean? That are literally terrifying. That has to be up there. You'd have to put that scene up there. To your point, that's why I think not enough people have seen this film in general.
Yeah, I'm surprised, that in some copies they didn't actually delete that scene as well, because it is kind of raw with what's going on. It's definitely recently anyway.
Yeah, ahead of its time, definitely.
Yeah. So they staged this big elaborate kind of shooting just so they can cheat on the exam test, which is kind of funny in itself. Some of the characters, so you've got Lisa, she's kind of like this hot blonde, and she's kind of easy, shall I say, as a woman, but she's guesses it on with the relationship with the professor, the teacher, and he's about 50 years of age, and she's like,
the professor is funny. The professor is hilarious.
Yeah. He looks about 50, and she looks 20.
That's why I kind of like the comedy in the film like that. Whereas an Animal House thing, what is it? I know I'm maybe skipping. Isn't he like teaching a student something, and then the other girl comes into the classroom, and you kind of see where that's going? I believe that's what it.
Yeah, and I think he was giving out the exam test as well.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
He's got a little bit of humor in there. He seems like kind of how you would want your professor to be, kind of a fun guy, but knowing that he likes younger girls is not great. But but yeah, you've got the whole thing with the pledge Gary as well.
Oh, yeah. The good-looking one, tell you the truth. Best-looking one of the bunch.
He's in a relationship with Janet, and she's another, like, kind of dumb blonde in a way. And they put him up to, like, he's got to break into the office and get the test papers so they can
way too old to be students, but you got to love that by the way they talk, the way they act.
Oh,
It kind of gives me shades of the one that we did a slasher stream on with George Clooney in it. Kind of reminded me of that a bit. That was done.
Return to Horror High.
Yeah, kind of reminded me of that a few years later. So
there's a lot of these college slashers, and a lot of them do blend together.
Yeah, they do.
Sometimes you're thinking, you can't make out which is which. This one is unique, though. I do actually love this one. It's kind of unique.
It is.
You've got the asshole sheriff who turns up as well,
wearing a patch for another county where the car says something else. There's a little bit of trivia on that. IMDb. You have to really look where, he kind of pulls up, right? He goes, what's going on here? And all this other stuff. The typical tropey sheriff in these slasher films. And,
kind of the asshole guy.
That was one of the trivias. Like, you look at his patch, it says another county, and you look at the car with the insignia on the car. So it's like, it's kind of cool, fun trivia for stuff like that. And I kind of don't mind that. That's what makes slashers like this fun. I'm like going, oh, this is great, and you revisit it.
Yeah. And I was reading up, he died fairly young as well. I think he was 57.
Yeah.
But there's so many shots of the killer following Courtney around this campus. Completely lifted from Halloween, like I mentioned earlier, like literally completely the same. So you've got, this Lisa, she's preparing to go away to New York after all the exams, and she's kind of from a wealthy background, and she can get these guys to do anything for her. Like, she asks these two to take her suitcases out of the car, and they're just running around like a lapdog after her. So that's quite a funny scene. You got Janet, and I was going to ask you about this because it's not a thing in the UK, but she gets pinned by Gary. And I take it he pins his, like, if you pin a girl, apparently that they're your girl, or it doesn't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he does.
Is that a thing in America then, or?
It's the first time I've heard of it and stuff like that. It's kind of like a jock thing, I'm guessing, but I've never seen it when I was in school or what have you. So
maybe they just made it up then for this film. It's possible. But do you know the Radish character? Like you say, I think he's one of the best in the film. And what you've got to like about him is he's got posters of like Toolbox Murders and Corpse Grinders up on his bedroom.
Yeah, the Toolbox Murders, another slasher type film I need to check out.
Oh, man, Cameron Mitchell. I think you'd really like that.
There's a remake of that too.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
I
the
know.
remake don't bother, man. It's got Sherry Moon Zombie in it, and it's
Oh,
fucking
okay.
awful.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Never mind.
But there
Yeah.
are fans of it out there apparently. But
Yeah.
yeah. So you got this pledge Gary now. Um, he breaks in, gets the exam, papers. But they pull this big prank and they tie him to this tree, kind of just with his underpants on, and they start putting foam all over him and all that. So that's kind of funny because he's there like overnight, I presume.
Yeah.
And
Ugh.
the way that works is his girlfriend's got to pretty much come and like free him or whatever. I don't know the way that works out, but yeah, it's crazy. But once you get to the halfway mark, I think, and you get the kills come thick and fast at one point, and then it gets more into your slasher, your literal Friday the 13th style.
Yeah, it's like dark comedy, and stuff
Yeah.
like that up to that point. Introduces the characters really well, in my opinion. Like I say, you have the typical pranksters that do these pranks and stuff like that. They're basically pieces of shit and stuff like that. You have the jock, like you say, the dude that drinks all the time or just does this, the
Oh,
jock
he's
and all this
brilliant.
other stuff too.
Yeah.
The way we'll get to that point where they set up that one dude and tie them all to a tree as part of like a pledge thing or do something like that, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Put whipped cream in as you know what, and I'm like, oh, like they do like a bunch of things.
I think the security guard comes later on and puts I think he does something as well. Didn't he put ice down there or?
Yeah, he
down
does.
the
He
front
does
of his
something and
booth?
stuff like that. Yeah, the security guard, one they mentioned and stuff. That dude is pretty funny as well.
Yeah, Mitch, I think his name is. But the kills in this might not be as elaborate, I don't think, as some of the Friday the 13th, because we get like a lot of stabbings. But the guy tied to the tree, so the killer kind of unties him, and it's done really well. It's done kind of suspenseful. But he jumps down on top of him, and then his girlfriend Janet pretty much dies in the next scene as well. She sees a silhouette of the killer, but she's grabbed and killed then, and it's almost kind of off camera.
Yes.
With her kill, because he's round the corner and he just.
I don't mind that. It's like when you see like the knife and something like that go up and stuff like that and just go down, but you don't see like what it is. Very Giallo-esque a little bit.
Yeah. I don't mind some off camera as long as if it's done well,
Me too. Yeah, absolutely.
So the thing is with the Radish character, it's never mentioned that he's gay. So he's got a little bit of a thing for Courtney, haven't he? And he ends up drunk.
The way he runs and stuff like that too. It's there. So it is there. I like the conversations between the two, like a lot. They have a conversation in a room about just like life and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So he's a good friend, type of a friend that does like her. She likes him too, which is like you kind of root for that a little bit. And I like that in films. I'm like, oh, like just say something,
Yeah. You kind of
that.
wishing they would get it on. But yeah, he gets drunk in the one shot, and he actually kind of tells her how pretty she is and how much he likes her. And then, of course, when you get that type of scene in a slasher film, it inevitably means you're going to die in the next scene.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look good for him, basically. But the whole thing, so you've got Mark, he gets Wild Man to go to the gymnasium late at night to steal some pills, I think it is, from the the coach's office.
Yeah, the coach's office. Yeah, it's
and again, I don't know how that works, but like
it was drugs or something like that. I don't want to say it's steroids, but yeah, it's one of those trippy scenes. It's like, go, dude, take it, right? It's typical,
but it gives him a high, whatever it is.
Yeah. So he goes.
Yeah. So he's probably got the best kill scene in the film, in the gymnasium.
Yeah, that's done very well. The fight between the two. Like I say, you see what this dude looks like. It's hilarious. Really. It breaks the rules, basically. Right? It does. It breaks the rules on purpose. On purpose. I think that gives this film the charm, is it breaks the rules for that,
That's why a lot of people don't like the film. But for me, it's a plus, because if we don't know the motivation behind the killings, then it kind of, it can be more scary. I know, again, in the book, in the novelization, it is hinted at why he's doing this.
Yeah,
I
this
haven't
one
I
doesn't
haven't
hint
read
at
it.
all why he's doing it at
Exactly,
all.
exactly.
I think this is the
Um,
first too where one of the first, you can say, kind of true slashers where you see who the killer is. Like
yeah,
Friday
yeah.
the
There's no
13th at the
mystery at
start, you
all.
don't see Black Christmas, of course, you don't see a lot of proto slashers, which are giallos. You don't see. This is one of the first where you kind of do see. Now, like, hasn't been done, but I mean, I think this is one
Right.
of the first to kind of do that. So I'll give it its props for that.
Yeah, and it would have been a completely different film if he'd have gone round with a mask on. I don't think it would have worked as well.
Yeah,
For me anyway.
yeah.
But so Wildman, when he's getting beaten up, but then he ends up dying. He ends up getting killed kind of with this weightlifting equipment, which is kind of cool.
The dude kicks his ass, basically. He like trying to
beats
fight him and stuff
the
like that.
hell
But
out
he
of
beats
him.
the Jesus
Yeah.
out of him. This is a big dude. So what is it? Mr. Timothy Rayner. Yeah, he's a big dude. So it kind of works out in here. So I like that. Where I mean, he kind of tosses him around a little bit.
He
So
beats the
he
hell
wins
out of
that
him.
battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got Mac, who's his friend, and he realizes Wildman's not come back, and he goes looking for him. But he ends up dead as well, and he ends up in a locker, dead in a locker, like, which is kind of
Great scene for that. Like I say, with the character when he's having the fight with, he does basically like this is before Chris Benoit murders, by the way, where he takes that weight thing or whatever like that. He basically uses it to hang him, right? He drops the weights down and he goes up like that. And that's how Chris Benoit committed suicide. In that kind of gruesome way and stuff like that too. So when you kind of see that, it's pretty horrific too, but a good kill in that in the slasher.
Yeah, he's pretty much garroted, I think is the best way you can describe it. But what I do like, so Radish, like when the first scene with the school shooting happened, Radish was the first one to phone.
He's the one that calls the police. Yeah, he's like, "Oh my God, I got a call. Oh my God, there's a shoot."
Yeah. And he kind of like when it comes around, he needs to phone them for real. They don't believe him.
They don't believe him.
Like,
so that worked perfectly for that. Of course they're not. As fans of these, we know for a fact, dude, I can just see that in the theater. I'm like going, dude, they're not going to answer. They're going to say bullshit. They're going to be like,
right,
it's not happening.
Yeah. But he ends up, you think he's going to be kind of like the final boy, but spoiler, he does end up getting killed. And a bit like Max
the trailer where you see when you see the thing go through that door in the trailer, in the trailer when you go knocking at the door, it's like, hey, get out of boom, like that.
He ends up getting pinned to the door. But I was going to say a bit like Max van Sydow in Sleepless. You don't really want that character to die early as he do, and he does die around in front of his bird. I think it is.
Yeah, in front of his bird.
Yeah. You've got Lisa then, she ends up getting killed. She strips off and she's waiting for Professor Lover to come along.
Waiting for the professor. Yeah, she's playing the piano.
Yeah, that's the piano scene. Yeah, exactly. And she's repeatedly very gory kill as well, I thought.
Right, he takes her by the head, and just turns her and stuff like that.
Yeah,
holds her like that and just goes like that. Yeah, very good.
So we're coming on to the final part of the film now. So you've got a long kind of cat and mouse sequence with Courtney running around the school, like the college grounds, being stalked by this killer, which is great, by the way. I mean, you can't argue the last 45 minutes of this is just pure fucking blueprint slasher for me,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But it's very suspenseful the last, I would say, 15, 20 minutes. I don't know if you want to give the whole thing away. Probably. Well, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's really fun. You kind of know the ending. There's that scene where it's a good chase. She goes up the stairs, right? It's like in one of the rooms or whatever, goes up the stairs. So it's one of those long stairs that go up and then go down, right? Yeah,
it's
done
like
very well.
Clock tower, I think it is.
She's a good final girl, man. She shows terror quite well. These ladies, boy, they know what they're doing with this too for kind of first time stuff.
And we see, I don't know what they call it in America, but do you know where you put your like meals? I mean, is it called a dumb waiter? Because we see the killer come down this kind of dumb waiter.
Yeah,
is that what they call it in the cafeterias you get?
Yeah,
that's a great shot. That's a really good shot. The whole kind of fight between Courtney and the killer as well.
That's very much
really
like
well.
Halloween. That's very much like, I mean, like the
Yeah.
ending to Halloween, very much like that, where you don't know if they're dead or not.
Exactly. And of course you got the coach. He shows up, with a bow
Oh,
and
yeah.
arrow, like as you do.
That was the coach that
but,
was wasn't he fired? Was that the one that was fired? Or no? Am I thinking of something else?
I don't think he was fired.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, but no, I'm sorry about that. Talking off topic for something else.
think
After kind
you
of
might-
seeing it.
Yeah, you might be the next one, I think. But anyway, yeah, without giving too much away, there's a great final shot where she kind of, pretty much we're gonna say it like she kills the killer. He falls from right, in this clock tower
Yeah,
to the
straight
floor.
down. That's
But
a
then
good
you've
scene
got-
right there.
Yeah. Then you've got the suspense of like he comes back to life to grab at her ankle,
Yeah,
and then she
gotta
just
love that.
completely.
Yeah.
I was thinking the end of this might have inspired Friday the 13th Part 4.
Oh yeah.
With Tommy
Corey
Jarvis when
Feldman?
he's going
God,
die.
Die.
So I'm almost certain that's the case. And then we got that final shot then of Courtney, and she's just sat on the step outside, which is done really well. I
Yeah.
think it's all done live while the credits are rolling as well for a while. You see her moving a little bit and all that with her head down. Yeah, this one, I love this one. I'm not gonna, I think this is one of the underrated slashers. And if anyone, I don't know if you've got any comments coming in, but I was going to say if anyone's watching this and let us know what you think of this film as well.
Yeah.
Because it's
Like in
very
the yeah.
diverse of this film. People
Yeah.
love it or hate it. There's like
I know there's other stuff going on today. It's a big physical media release day, like a lot of stuff coming from these other companies and stuff. And I know my man Video Man Gizmo is doing a stream later on with Anthony and Tony on his channel and stuff. So some stuff going on. But yeah, if you watch the replay, Final Exam. Let us know what you think about that. So I'll go first. I remember first time seeing this, I gave it a 4.5 out of 10. Now you may think that's pretty bad for me, but I thought that was pretty, like, I can say it like if we're going for tier slashers, it's like a B, but then after recently rewatching it, it's films like this and Death Screams where I'll bring it up to from a 4.5 to a 5.5 out of 10. And that can grow too. If you're looking for fun during this time of year specifically, and you just want to turn your mind off and look at an 80s slasher, an 80s slasher from this great 4 years worth of these, the heyday of the slasher craze, then yeah, definitely this one. Definitely, I highly recommend it. It's a good one. You can still get it on Scream Factory. Wait for a sale. Pick this bad boy up. Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
I need to get the Blu-ray as well. So I've got 2 DVD versions. I got the old PCI as well. I'm definitely different on this film than you. For me, it's I would say probably a high middle tier. So I would give it 7 out of 10.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
But I mean it can kind of creep into the top tier for me as well, depending on what mood I'm in.
Yeah.
But I think you could do a lot worse. So if you've never seen this and you're into all your slashers, I think you could do a lot worse than put this on. But be warned, it is, heavily influenced by Halloween.
Heavily influenced by Halloween, like a lot of slashers were, like Halloween, Friday the 13th, The Burning, stuff like that, and you get kind of cool school slashers like this, school's back from summer, so it's a perfect thing for that. I do have IMDb up, so we'll look at some pictures of this great slasher right here, so it'll work out here. Let's see here real quick. Just have it up there. So that's the VHS you're kind of talking about, even though that says DVD there. I think that's what that kind of looked like. That's crazy.
That's the PCI DVD.
Yeah, that's crazy. That looks different. That looks
it is different.
Like totally different than what it could be. Yeah. Yeah, and there he is right there. There's Mr. Clue Gallagher right there. Yeah,
that's the killer. Yeah, that's Courtney. He's Wild Man. Dude. Probably not the best character in the film, but for me, he's like second best. I do like him a lot.
That hair and oh yeah, all this
Oh
stuff.
God, yeah, I can remember hairstyles like that back in the day.
She
So you
does
got
look
Courtney.
familiar. The one on the left.
Cecile
Like
Baghdadi. She didn't do a lot. There's
there he
Radish.
is.
He did actually appear in. Do you know have you heard of a film called Terror in the Isles?
I have heard of yeah, that's
It's
about the whole
basically a
Halloween
lot
thing.
about
Yeah.
trailers, all film clips together. And
Yeah.
Radish, Radish is actually in the crowd watching the trailers.
Oh, that's
So
great.
he does pop up. Great shot there with a knife.
Yeah, that's a great scene on that car. Yeah, that's crazy.
And the opening scene with the car does remind me a lot of Superstition as well. There's a very similar.
Scenes like
I
that come out of
remember
nowhere.
watching the two of them together back-to-back nights, and I was absolutely gobsmacked. They like close those two scenes are to each other.
Hey, Tiana, I see that you're in the chat. Thanks for joining, saying hi. Hope you and the family are doing good. Thanks for dropping in, saying hi. Yeah, just looking at this. Yeah, there's a scene right here. This is hilarious where it's just like, dude, it's like.
I mean, yeah, it does. It looks like you can get out of that so easily as well.
Yeah.
Yep,
there he is. Wow.
That's a great shot.
She just does not see it. How bad is that and how good is that? Where you just don't see it.
Yeah.
It's like so good.
Yeah, Radish is
there he
definitely
is.
the best.
Yeah, there's the teacher.
There's the kind of
Professor.
gigolo teacher.
Just kind of great scenes from around the campus of this college here. Done like really well.
The one thing I love about the film as well in those final scenes is the isolation.
Yes,
they're just they're so isolated. There you go. There's a scene in the gym with a silhouette of the killer. Love that.
Bulldogs.
So iconic, man.
Oh, and I just noticed that too with these stills. You see her right there, and you see him right there where she's like, "Oh shit!" Like,
yeah.
Radish with the coolest glasses ever. Yeah, there's those two.
That is so comical. There's no way that professor could.
Oh, Murder Is My Beat. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Those are classic posters there.
Cool posters, man.
She's really pretty. I have to admit. Like
I was going to say, no way that would happen in real life. She wouldn't look at him twice, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There's the coach getting killed.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah, just with that scene, my goodness. So it's done a little bit differently, of course, but yeah, that's a great scene right there. And he props him, preps him up. Old school, like Pepsi stuff, you gotta love it.
I think the Wild Man kill is as good as any.
Anything you can get, pretty much. Oh, that's so good. Great scene right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. Now, you can't kind of see it here. I think it's around here. Yeah, it's right there, but it doesn't match the car, the badge that he has. So I still think it's great.
Okay.
It reminds me of Randy Quaid a little bit.
I think he's a great character. I think he's kind of funny.
Oh, that's right. This dude. Yeah.
Is he some kind of security on campus or something?
Yeah, he is the security on campus. Yeah.
He falls asleep, then he's asleep in the car with all of it happening, which is kind of funny as well.
Look at that awesome mustache. Movember is coming up, man. So Slasher Dude's bringing out his stash a little bit. So I'm going to let it grow out. So. Yeah, just showing everything. Oh, that dude. Yeah, that dude. Now, I've seen him in other things.
I'm sure I've seen him before. Yeah.
Teacher. Yeah, just introducing all the characters. Man, that hairstyle, Jesus. It's a perm if you can never. And there's kind of, you can say, the one we all kind of have and stuff like that. That's a good shot there. That's kind of like an original poster art. Pretty good.
My goodness. There's the VHS. I do have that.
Wow, and look at that.
But it's boxed up.
That's a nice one. I like that. I like it when they do that. Yeah, Betamax.
That was the only way you could see it at one time.
That's numbered too. So you got to remember that before you see these numbered collector's edition Blu-rays and stuff like that. Yeah.
I do want to say I've got the poster as well. I'm pretty sure I've got the poster somewhere. The one.
Yeah, and there's that one, of course, from Scream Factory and then Theater Nightmare. Oh,
that's the one I've got.
Scorpion.
I just reversed the cover, basically.
These were funny when Scorpion released these and stuff like that, because Code Red did this too. With sometimes you have commentary by people like this lady up here. It's always like that idea.
That's what's so weird about that release and the Scorpion release. They both got different commentaries. So the one's got the cast commentary, and the other one's got the producer. The one I've got here has got.
That's
the
a
producer
good one,
commentary.
even though that's totally different. That
Oh
is
God, I don't think I've
totally
ever seen
different.
that one.
Yeah, that's totally different. Uh-oh. MDC video. So
That looks like
Embassy as
Michael
well.
Berryman, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
That's
Embassy
weird.
released it. So it's I wonder if Tony from formerly known as Masters from the 80s, Wigan Film Club. I wonder if he has this one. That'd be very interesting.
I
But
don't think that one was in the UK. I think the first one you showed was the blue one.
yeah.
Primarily blue.
So yeah, that's Final Exam. Like say, put Tiana's name up here. Yeah. Thanks for joining. Hope you're doing all good and stuff like that as well. Thanks for dropping in, saying hi on this Friday. Halloween's a few 10 days away and stuff like that. So yeah, total thoughts on this on Final Exam there, Darren. Give me your score real quick again, if you could.
Yeah, again, 7 out of 10. I think it's highly underrated. I don't get why people shit on it so much, but
one person in particular.
I know Deppit hate the film.
Yeah,
Uncle Bill and CK both hate the film. But you like what you like, you know. I actually, as a slasher film, I think it's quite a strong entry into the early 80s. But yeah, it is what it is, I suppose. But yeah, I would highly recommend it. But
yeah, me too.
Again,
like I said,
don't shoot me.
It's very good. No, absolutely. I agree. I'm glad I got this originally. I definitely got it in a sale and stuff like that. And fortunately, this one's just a bare bones kind of. It's not a they're collector editions and stuff like that too. So
right, yeah,
just basically kind of bare bones of what you get, unfortunately. But it's cool they have like certain pictures in the back of this on the slip, so I kind of like that. But
there's a 4K, I think, of this as well in there. I'm pretty sure
and
there's
this
a 4K
is weird
release.
because, like I say, this is Scream Factory Encode Red that no longer exists. So this was a joint venture between the two. That's when they're starting out and said, let's get these releases out. So, but yeah, I definitely recommend this. So we're going to another one that I was highly impressed with. That's 1984's the Initiation. That's a good one from Arrow too as well. That's a nice Blu-ray. So yeah, the Initiation, 1984. Here we go. We're at the peak here. So directed by Larry Stewart and Peter Crane. Now, Peter Crane was originally the director for this, and then Larry Stewart took over because money was becoming an issue, and they had to switch directors because of the fact of it just wasn't going good. But they just have both their names on here. Both these people have kind of passed. I've done like a little bit of research through IMDb on them, but I don't know a lot about them. I'm sure you probably know more, Darren. Stars Vera Miles as Frances Fairchild, the great Vera Miles, very pretty actress, of course, from Psycho 2, some other stuff that she's done, and she's still around, I believe. Daphne Zuniga as Kelly Fairchild, and then Clu Gulager, I believe, as a Dwight Fairchild.
Gulager,
now, I didn't recognize him at first, but then I recognized the name, and then I'm like going, oh God, it's Return of the Living Dead, that dude. And this was filmed at Dallas and filmed in Dallas, Texas. And so go ahead, Darren. What's your thoughts on this film before we start?
Right. So yeah, just going, what you said about the director as well. So he was pretty much sacked early on, Peter Crane. He did do a lot of TV kind of stuff. Alfred Hitchcock Presents. There's a TV series called The Dark Room that was in the early 80s. He did episodes for that as well.
Nice.
But Vera Miles, so the original director brought Vera Miles on to the film. So when he was sacked, apparently she was not very happy that she had to go ahead and still do the film. So there's that. Clu Gulager, of course, was in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 as well as Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, that's right.
He's in a really cool unknown slasher called Hunter's Blood. I don't think it's ever got a release on DVD or anything. But if you can
add to the slasher list.
yeah. I mean, I would imagine you can get it on YouTube and it is a good one. Daphne Zuniga, of course, started her career in 1982 with The Dawn That Dripped Blood.
Okay,
aka
that I did
Pranks.
not know. Okay.
Yeah, aka Pranks. She kind of, I thought she would have gone on and made it big, but she kind of her big kind of moment was The Fly 2. And then I don't know what happened. I
Yeah,
thought she had all
Melrose
the
Place. Melrose Place was a
yeah,
spinoff
yeah,
of 90210. I remember from there. And
yeah. You thought she would have gone on because she does a pretty good performance in this, I think.
it's kind
Um,
of funny at the start, but yeah. It's I
so yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Darren.
I was gonna say, so the opening. So you got this kind of dream sequence, or we think it's a dream sequence, or
Yes.
could it be childhood trauma? You got this stormy night, and you see all these creepy dolls in this young girl's bedroom. Um, and she kind of wakes up and sees her parents having sex. And she stabs the man. Another man comes into the
That's
room.
attacking. Yeah, that's attacking
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the other man that comes into the room ends up, fighting with the other guy, and he ends up in the fire, and he's
It's a
burned.
funny scene with you see Mr. Dwight Fairchild kind of like in the flames, kind of, or so you think to me, and you see these fake flames kind of from like like all this other stuff
Right.
too.
It's
Childhood
done
trauma,
pretty
to your
well.
point.
Yeah. It's kind of Nightmares on a Damaged Brain, if you think about that
Nightmare
in
on
a
Elm
way.
Street. This came out the same time as Nightmare on Elm Street, maybe a little bit after, but it has to do with some of those themes throughout this film.
Well, Nightmare on Elm Street actually kicked this film's ass in the
Oh
box
yeah,
office
okay. So I
take-ins,
kind of
which
figured
which
like
you would expect. So they come out roughly the same time.
roughly the same time.
Um,
Yeah.
So you've got Kelly is the main character in this. She and her three friends are like pledges for this sorority, and it's prank week. So the thing they've got to do is go into her like mother and father's big department store and get the
Yeah,
security
mall.
guard's uniform.
Yeah,
The
mall.
old style mall.
Yeah.
And that kind of sets it up a little bit. We got the early kind of scene with the fireside sanitarium as well, which is
That's
kind of
great.
freaky.
That's great.
Uh,
This film is all over the place when it comes to that, boy.
that
You could
just
tell
they just show that for at the time you're thinking for no reason, like
out of nowhere.
it just comes into this
You have the nurse,
sanitarium scene.
Radish type character in
Yeah,
there
yeah.
too.
She's a bit of a bitch, the nurse, isn't she? And
Cute.
yeah, so you've got the whole scene is played out with all these kind of crazy people, kind of like The Exorcist 3 in the one scene of
Yeah.
that. But prominently we've got the groundsman, and we see a shot of the
He
groundsman, and
tells
he's
him to get
burnt.
out of there and stuff like that too with the
Yeah, but he's got like
with
a
the
burnt face, haven't he, as
thing that
well?
he's using and stuff like that. Get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah. But
Yeah, yeah.
you also see a woman right next to that window. You don't know anything about her. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
But after
Yeah.
that's all said
Yeah.
and done with, you see the dude leave or something like that. And she's like, she has her fists next to her, like, she's very anxious and stuff like that, pulling at the, sanitarium dress or whatever that she's wearing. That's all I'm going to say about that.
And that kind of the first proper kill, or the first kill actually of the film, kind of sets up where the killer's in the back seat of the nurse's car, and he's got that kind of gardening tool, like you say. It's like a claw, isn't it? Something similar.
The killer
to that.
lets out all the like Halloween lets out all the inmates. Basically you can say kind of like a throwback to Halloween as well. And she's trying to get them all
Alone
back
in the
in there,
dark as well.
and they surround her. Yeah, they surround her. Then she gets into the car. That's a great scene.
That's just come to me as well, like Alone in the Dark, like very similar with the the escape kind of image.
Oh yeah, like all this stuff, all of them like all hitting on the window and stuff like that, and gruesome kills in here too. This is like, I don't want to say it's overkill, but God, it's bloody great. To your point.
Yeah. So you've got the whole backstory. Then you've got all these inmates of kind of escaped from a sanitarium. We don't know how prominent that is at the time, but all we know is Kelly's mother and father are not. They receive a phone call saying that this has happened, and they kind of seem on edge about it. But what I like about this, it gives you all the clues. It like gives you a load of clues throughout the film, and you just got to put them together yourself.
I
But
did not know. I
I
thought I
didn't
did,
expect.
then I thought I
Yeah,
didn't, then I thought I did, then I thought I didn't, because there's a lot of characters in here. It's a definitely great whodunit slasher, in my opinion.
there's no way the final twist. I think you can work out. There's no
No,
way.
I did not see that coming.
I thought I had it sus like you
I
up
thought
until that
maybe
point.
it could have been a
Yeah.
particular person. We'll get to that at the end of this. I thought it was, and I'm like going, oh, and it just put a big smile on my face. I mean, I'm just sorry.
I mean, Matt, like without giving too much away, I guess we will later. But Madhouse is another one, similar sisters.
Yeah.
The Brian De Palma
Yes.
sisters.
Yeah.
You know, I love that
absolutely.
little trope in these films. You know,
I love it. Yeah.
Um,
It's definitely a triple feature with a couple films added to this.
Oh God, yeah, just the ones I mentioned alone.
Yeah.
But so Kelly, she is kind of suffering these nightmares or dreams. She kind of hooks up with the I guess he's like a teacher or professor.
Yeah, he's
got like a little
professor
sidekick isn't
there
he?
with his student and stuff like that. Yeah, doing a think dreamscape a little bit.
Yeah,
Doing
yeah,
the stuff like it's a funny conversation between the two, because it's like all of a sudden she's like just sitting there in class, like, well, I'm having these dreams. It's like, are you here because of this or because you know my something like that? The conversations are hilarious with
Yeah,
this. I
that's
tell you what,
weird.
man,
Yeah.
they're really funny.
They got kind of a good chemistry as well, like Kelly and
It
him.
comes out of nowhere,
You know?
but yeah,
Yeah.
they got it.
They kind of get it on at one point. But so she's been suffering amnesia since she was the age of 9.
Yes.
She doesn't know anything before that age at all. And this guy, Peter, he's trying to like hook her up to these machines and trying to find out the real reason. There's a mirror involved in some of her dreams, so they kind of don't know. It is explained later on, obviously, when we get the final
I was
reveal.
almost thinking Boogeyman there at the start. She says that
There is
it was
Boogeyman
dropped on her
vibe, yeah.
head from a tree house in the back of her back of the
That's
house
right, yeah.
that they live in. She mentions that. I'm like, okay,
There's
interesting.
definitely a Boogeyman vibe as well. There's quite a few films. This is kind of, it seems to have got good elements from a lot of the slashers that come before and put it all into like this big melting pot. Yeah, you see some really cool visions as well, where you know where she's this little girl and she's holding these scissors, and she's in the bathroom and she looks in the mirror and she sees this girl staring back at her like he's about 9 with the pair of scissors.
Yeah,
we don't know
like
why
bloody,
at that
with
point.
a bloody nightgown. Yeah,
Yeah. That is explained again, like I said. But
yes,
at the
it
time
is. And
you're
I'm like
thinking,
going,
shit.
yeah,
Because you think that's her, don't you, from the beginning of the film?
yes, I did.
So
I thought like it was like, yeah, we'll get to that to your point, but yeah, I was thinking it was quite a few people, but at the start there, I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is like a cool descent into madness a little bit. So,
right. So there's a massive clue to what comes later, but like me or you didn't pick up on it, which is
no,
good, you know?
I couldn't. No,
but her parents are kind of certainly a mother. She hates the fact that she's going to this guy who's kind of analyzing her dreams and that, because she's looks like she's got some kind of secret she's hiding.
it's her birthday too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, because when she goes to her parents, who are these high mucky mucks, of course, because the dad owns these places and stuff like that, these malls,
very
and
well
like
to do
that.
family.
They do the research on that as well. He says he has to go to a meeting or something like that. That comes a little bit later on. That's not the truth. He's having an affair on Bear Miles' character.
Right. Yeah. So Kelly overhears him on the phone, doesn't she? And he's saying, "Oh, you know, I love you," to his mistress or whatever. But that sets up a great part of the film. So we got the POV of the killer, and it's pretty much stalking their house on this like really stormy night.
That's a great shot. He asks, like, anybody there? You know, great shot.
Yeah.
Great
the
shot.
father comes out, doesn't he? And he tries to find out what's going on. But the killer obviously disposed of the father with this claw garden tool, like we mentioned, to the throat. And he literally decapitates him as well, which is cool.
The father does mention something on the phone after it hangs up. He's like tells his wife not to worry, because it's like miles and miles and miles away. There's no way they can get here. so I wouldn't worry about it.
Right,
Like
so-
casual, like, and I'm like, there's a scene where they're getting ready. It looks like to go to bed, or she is. You know, she's huge goblet of like flipping wine, dude. It's like
Yeah,
freaking
yeah,
big as
yeah.
heck. She's all sitting there and stuff like that. You know, there's tension there. That's where the twist at the end of this is like chef's kiss on point, like where you're
Yeah.
wondering kind of what's going on. Vera Miles is just, she's just great at playing these characters. There's like just something about her. She's really pretty in here too, but she has that look to her, old school horror actress.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. That's what she is. And
I mean, the cast is
worked.
superb, like we mentioned.
At the start of this film, to your point, it's the dream that she has, and that's where the initiation starts, right? The typical
Right. Yeah.
sorority type of a thing, you know. So you can
It's-
almost put House on Sorority Row in on this list too. if
Yeah,
you want
absolutely.
to. They
Yeah.
put a lot of stuff in here.
You can name 12 films and probably, you know, similar kind of aspects. But what I do mention is kind of funny as well, because there is some dark humor in there. So when the father gets decapitated, the mother does not know anything about it, and the killer drives off in the car. But the mother utters this line, he would forget his head if it wasn't
Attached to him. Yeah.
She's oh man, that's just so funny. There's even a reference to Psycho later on. Did you pick up on it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll mention it as we come on
Yeah,
to it.
absolutely.
But, so you've got all these shots of the killer, and he's in the like sorority stalking. You've even got some like full female nudity as well, which I was surprised.
This is the last vestige. This is the last vestige of slashers like this when they do this. Yeah, there was like, they have this like a Halloween party kind of, and she invites the professor to it and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's where they introduce the characters like this, these jocks, these three dudes that they're actually all quite good, all quite funny. Specifically, the one dude, the thinner dude, the skinny guy, as I call him, and stuff like that. He's hilarious. Where he's having a conversation, which I forget these actresses' names. I think she passed. Where they're having this conversation while drinking, and he like just saying, you know, we can do this or do that, being really, what's the word for it? I don't want to say narcissistic, but being a typical like jackass, you know, towards her and stuff like that. And she's real good. I love these characters, real good at playing off on that. She's like, yeah, and all that stuff too. So the conversations are terrific in this.
That's what I like about this film is the characters. They're kind of fun. A lot of them. I know, like Daphne Zuniga as Kelly is kind of pretty much straight. And
you have like the head bitch or whatever it is, where he's on top of her and they're kissing and stuff like that. Where he's straddling her. I always thought that was kind of funny. So you know, kind of who the dominant was in that relationship. So it's pretty. funny.
Yeah. You've got that, like the party you mentioned. You've got the shitty band playing in the background, which is always great. And so because you got that in Graduation Day. Savage Streets and films like that.
A lot of drinking. A lot of drinking.
It does get dark as well towards the end. So you've got Kelly's friend she got a friend called Massa.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of her, and she's like my favorite of the bunch there.
She is a really good character, and there's this in joke that she's a bit of a virgin.
Yes,
throughout
she
the film,
explains
but
that later. Yeah,
that fucking takes a dark turn later on.
Yes, it does. I'm like going, that came out of nowhere. Yeah.
I mean, they kind of threw that in the.
Yeah, they just like going, just go and put that like very disturbing thing in there.
Yeah, to disturb you, I think. But so Kelly and Peter, they kind of kissed at this party, didn't they? They kind of fall for each other.
They're just like, doing some stuff because they decide, let's just go. It just switches to that. It says, let's get out of here. Like, it's like she's saying that, they're all of a sudden in this room, and then they just decide to kiss for the hell of it and stuff like that too. I'm like, yeah, sure, okay. We kind of got like that. It just kind of switches to certain scenes, like, and then we get up to the scene, of course, where she gets her father's keys, which is interesting because we'll come up to a scene later where there's another set of keys, and I'm like going, okay, and it's like I say, because that's part of the thing to get into the sorority. Like I said, that's a little bit of a side plot in here, trying to get into sorority, but there's a lot of stuff going on here. That's probably why I like this slasher as much as I do. So.
There is a lot going on. But obviously, you know, her mother wants her to not, you know, she ends up going to Peter's and she says, I don't want to take part in any more of these dream analysis.
Yes, because that's where he has her under that trance, like hypnosis. She's asking around the school, you know, where where's he's at. That's where we get some information there that we didn't know before. So go ahead, take it from
With
there.
the two personalities, you mean, with the mirror?
Not with that. It's the fact where she tells him to wake her back up.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
He's saying Fairchild, I think, but the mom says no, it's another last name.
Right, yeah.
And he says the other last name, and she wakes up. Yes, and that's where
So
you
there's
figured
another
out,
clue. Yeah,
yeah, where those two have a little spat where Professor goes, she didn't fall off a treehouse, did she? Like, what
right.
is it you're
Yeah,
not telling me? That's basically none of your damn business. Basically, she says,
yeah. She
your
kind
mom
of shuts
basically
him
kicks him
down.
in the nuts without kicking him in the nuts and like going, you stay away from her. We're getting out of here. So she's being the mom, basically. We're getting out of here. So.
Yeah, yeah. And the whole thing then, the last kind of half of the film is all in this. Well, a lot of it's in this department
mall.
store.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
great. Like, oh God, you can think Chopping Mall. You can think Night of the Comet. You can think like Stranger Things did a season on this where all the stuff is taking place in a mall. It's just so good. Like, I love it.
There's Hide and Go Shriek is another one. That's kind of give me the vibes of this one. There's I'm trying to think. There's Slumber Party Massacre 3. That's kind of got a little thing going on as well.
That's one I have not seen.
Yeah,
okay.
It's kind of a decent. It's not that well known of a film,
Right.
but it's kind of decent. But you've got the Night Watchman, and he's like just openly just reading porn while he's at the desk at the front.
The ladies know who he is too, so
yeah, kind of a ladies' man.
Yeah, blonde hair with that blonde mustache and shit like that. Yeah.
But he gets so he gets knocked off early on, but there's a really cool scene when he picks up these kind of sunglasses and he sees the killer in the back reflection.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is really cool.
I love the overhead shot when because the main part, this is nostalgia for me. Yeah, that's where they are at in the middle of this place. It's a mini city, right?
It's massive.
And the overhead shot of him walking towards the thing, like think Die Hard, stuff like that, where they're walking towards like what's going on. The red lighting in the room where he goes out, where he sees the exit is off and then he comes back in and stuff like that. Like you say, great stuff.
It's the same as the last film as well, with the isolation in this department store, with the isolation in the gymnasium in the final exam.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, I just love slashes like this,
Me too. I do too. It's almost like cohabitation horror, as it's called, where it's either in a house or it's in a mall like this where there's layers to it. Like I say, there's kills like done in a place full of lamps and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Of course, the beds with the lamps already prepped, ready to go. But yeah, go ahead there, Darren.
Oh man, there's a scene. There's a scene at the department store as well. And I don't know about you, because obviously you've seen Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh yeah.
But you've got the Christmas and they're showing the elves and they're showing this, like all these different
those are great scenes like that.
Why is it that is so fucking creepy? I don't know why. Those kind of toys really,
I like that
creepy,
because it's quiet, right? There's a silence because
you've got the elves. I don't know why it just really creeps me out. I think it's because I've seen Silent Night, Deadly Night, and there's a similar scene in that.
That's what I love about the genre.
Yeah. So you've got all these kind of kids there, and these guys are trying to pull these pranks, and they're pretty much putting masks on and trying to scare Kelly and her friends.
That's the thing, right? The only thing she has to do is go in there and steal his uniform, which she does. She automatically goes in there and do it. Her other two friends, the hot blonde and then her other buddy, other nerdy type friend, you can say, and stuff like that. So there's three of them. The other ladies and their boyfriends come in there and basically say, yeah, I want you to scare the bejesus out of them and stuff like that. That's just part of it.
Yeah. Allison is the hot blonde in this, and she gets topless at some point, and she's told to basically distract the Night Watchman. So
yeah, she gets a pair of roller skates and all this stuff. She looks hot as hell doing that and stuff. Yeah, takes off what shirt that she's wearing, then puts on the same shirt the mannequin is wearing, and that's funny.
Right?
She just like looks at her. She's like, not bad.
She's
and stuff
a really
like that.
good.
Yeah,
kind of a slutty character, but really good one.
I like it the way she's using the roller skates to go past there, and she goes past a scene where the killer goes. It's like a like I say, malls were funky back in the day, and they had places like this where it's like a glass table with these weapons in it and stuff like that. One of them being like a knife or whatever it is. That gets smashed, and she automatically goes past it. Where you're like going, okay, so.
So we see the killer in certain shots going up the elevators.
Yes.
There's a scene later on where Kelly says to a friend,
Yeah,
well,
the escalators.
I see, the escalator scene. So and they kind of like, shit, no, you were in
I love scenes
the
like
elevator.
that.
Yeah,
I love scenes like that.
I love
First Terminator. The first Terminator is done in sort of like a mall with Michael Biehn going through there.
Right.
Real
And
quick.
that could be classed as a slasher anyway.
Yeah.
But got some cool scenes, some cool death scenes as well. You got Andy, the one guy who's kind of going to scare them. He ends up with like a hatchet to the head. All the lights come on, and then you've got Megan.
That's a good kill with the hatchet to the head because he's
It's because Friday the 13th.
What's her name? Like the chick is all kind of doing it with him like a little bit. Says, no, you're going to play it like the way I want you to play it, right? And stuff like that. It's like whatever like that, and he tries to go find her, and that's a cool scene where it's like, the elevator opens and stuff like that because he thinks he misses her, right, and then it opens up again, and a great scene, and he falls back into like some bags or something like that. Really good. I really like that a lot.
You got a cool scene with Megan. That's the girl mentioned. She's shot with a bow and arrow. That's like a really cool scene.
That would have been. I hate to be kind of sick like that. Yeah, because she's in I think she goes into a place with the lamps first, and then she goes somewhere just behind somewhere. It would have been better. I do like it where it's shot like here. I don't know. I'm kind of sick like that. It would kind of been better if it'd be shot like, like here. Or like with part 3 here. You know what I mean? Friday the 13th part 3. So, but still though, it's a good one and stuff like that too. And I like the slow burnness of that a little bit where he's like, hey, stop playing around, typical trope, right? Hey, stop playing around. But you notice the look on their faces, they recognize them. Yeah. That's what makes it interesting. So go ahead, Darren.
Yeah. So it all kind of comes to a head, doesn't it? So Peter, his assistant Heidi comes across these newspaper clippings detailing like the fire that happened in Kelly's dream was actually a real incident. So you got Jason Randall was the guy. He was a floor manager at the Fairchild department store.
Yeah, that's what the one girl tells the professor and stuff like that, which is a funny comedy type of thing because she keeps on putting these papers down and stuff like that too. It's like, oh, by the way, there's this and this and this and this. Yeah.
So he was the guy that got burnt. He was actually married to Kelly's mother.
Yes. Yes.
So
that's where shit hits the fan. Yeah,
that's where it gets a little bit. So the guy in the early scene, Clu Gallagher, is not actually a real father.
No, that was the one she was having an affair with.
Yeah, so that's kind of the reveal, but that's not all of it.
No,
there's obviously a lot more to come. So Kelly, in fact, she tried to kill Dwight, her mother's lover, pretty much. So you've got. Trying to think now where I am. That's right. So we've got the stranger who was burned was in fact a real father. So Dwight ended up bringing up Kelly as his own daughter, and he never mentioned anything. She actually thought that he's her father.
Yeah, they had a secret marriage. They both had like, what was it, like a marriage like off the books? Nobody knew about it basically, and just let Kelly know that those were her actual parents. They do mention the word stepfather in here, but you do not know that at the start. You just don't. You think that's
even Kelly thinks that. I think even Kelly thinks that's her father.
Obviously does that. So there's way of like, there's no way she would have known that. So that was a really good plot. That's where he tries calling Vera's character as a Francis or Fran, I bet basically, Fran, and she just picks up the phone. That's typical old school wise and just puts it down. So he decides to go over there, say, what's going on? She mentions it's happening again. She says it's happening again.
Reference.
That's the money shot. That's the money shot. And he goes over there like, where is she? Where is she? And stuff like that too. And like, something's going on here. I need to get there. And he's like, where are the keys at? And she has keys to the mall, which is interesting because she got the keys, to the mall and stuff like that. So it's like, so that's one thing I think they messed up on a little bit, but sometimes you have to do it. So it's like, I can call it like a spare thing of keys. Like, yeah, sure.
I was going to say, there's probably 2 sets of keys. That's the only
and
way
then,
you can
he decides to go, and then she's just kind of sitting there for a second that's where she says it's started again. So, but that's not the last we'll see of her.
That is, like you say, that's definitely a Psycho reference, which is great. I don't think I picked up on that first time. And this time round, I completely picked out, I was marking out when
I just want to say, like, with slashers like this, I love slashers like this because they're WTFs a little bit. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's like they could put possibly, like I say, this film did have trouble getting produced, of course, with new directors and stuff like that too. So you knew, when I see kind of films like this and know the history of them, specifically slashers, I'm all over it because I'm like, I'm going to see what they did with what they had to work with there. And like you say, you have a sanitarium, you have a mall, you have a sorority house, you have dreams, nightmares, stuff like that, so they packed up everything into one. And of course, you have legendary actors and actresses like Vera Miles.
Yeah, you've got the virginal characters as well. You think that it could be the final girl. But that's where I'm coming on to the Marcia. We get like an explanation, like, while she's not, like, she says she's not a virgin, she was like kind of sexually abused as a youngster.
Yeah, they're having a conversation, getting drunk, and
man, it comes from nowhere, doesn't it?
Trying to get with her at first, and I'm like going, it's like, so where are we at? Like Night of the Comet now? Is that what we're doing? We're doing like this now. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. So Allison discovers the dead night watchman. And Chad is killed kind of off camera because he's in the bathroom going to the toilet and he having a pee, and then
she opens up the door. She tells her that she goes, and that's a typical terrifying trope where it's like, go look, please, just go look, but
right. And then I think does Kelly go in, and like later on she sees
the
her
one
name in blood.
You see the look on her face, like she's like that and stuff like that. She goes, tells her to go call whatever like that, because it's a typical thing where you start seeing like the all the kills and stuff like that too. Typical slasher trope where they kind of start doing that in this mall and all this other crazy
stuff.
I
love about that scene is you've got Kelly's name in blood on the mirror.
Yes.
In the bathroom. I didn't pick up on that first time, but this time I did.
I remember seeing that. I'm like going, oh, this is great. Like you say, the blonde, the sexy blonde, she goes, and that's the best kill in this whole thing, in my opinion. She goes to the security station, starts doing something else. The killer goes right behind her and starts stabbing the bejesus out of her. Like,
that is gory as well. That
it's very gory. She literally picks up the microphone and she's like going, like that and stuff like that, where it's going all over the whatever like that. And then that's all you see of that is just blood, and then the hand just going like that. I'm like, damn.
It's definitely the best kill sequence, I think, in the film. So you've got Beth who actually pulled out of going to the department store. She tells Peter that they're all kind of in the Fairchild department, place.
That's when that before like going towards like whatever like that, before he goes to her mom's house. That's right. Yeah.
So you've got Ralph and Marcy. They end up having sex on a display bed, which
bed.
That's a great kill as well, though, with the harpoon gun. Like,
yes, it looks familiar, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this was 84, so Friday the 13th.
Yeah, gets him first and stuff like that. Well, she the blonde's getting killed. They're the ones having sex like that, and she's doing moaning and stuff like that on the bed.
And don't you, when a couple's having sex in a slasher film, you know what's going to happen to both of them. But
that's
she's got
bad because I felt for those two because they're all having a conversation and just
having
fun
nice,
and all this other stuff. Do you want to go again? Yeah, sure. And then that's when it happens. You see a pew.
Yeah, because he seems he's a bit of a joker, but he seems like a nice character.
Yeah.
But you've obviously got Marcia's character there, and she's with Kelly, and they're trying to get away from the killer. But the way she's dragged, inside an elevator,
and she's like going like, "Oh God," and stuff like that. What's going on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you don't see the whole killer. That's what I like about it. You see shadows of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they go into the old school industrial elevator. So it's not like the regular elevators. It's the
Exactly.
bigger one, right?
Yeah.
Like you see in kind of like those old school apartments, like think like Child's Play, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah,
they actually
that's
get in there before
really-
they go down. That's when they have that kind of quick conversation, like in there and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, he was so nice and all this other stuff too. It's like, you got to forget it. You got to forget it, you know?
Yeah. That's I really love that scene. But then we think we've got the film worked out. So Kelly's being chased by Jason. And she thinks he's the killer as well.
That's the thing. That's what's interesting, because she gets to the roof.
Yeah.
You see her body getting dragged. Then
Yeah.
you see him kind of come up, and I'm like going, okay, it's not him. Like, so they did that on
Exactly.
purpose, which is funny, where he's like saying like Kelly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And,
So
you
she
know, it's just getting
bludgeons
to that
him with this pipe. Is it?
yeah, with this
I
pipe.
think?
Yeah, and he falls up to his death.
Yeah. Or
Or
so
not
well.
really,
Yeah.
technically. he
So
did.
we think this is.
Yeah,
death,
so we
but,
think, yeah.
So Peter then sees who he thinks is Kelly, but that's when it all gets kind of.
They all hug and stuff like that. Kelly, it's all
Yeah.
good. She's wearing a blue blouse and all this other stuff too. That comes to play later. Hugs her and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, oh shit. So this is Happy Birthday to Me.
It does remind me of
This
that.
is Madhouse.
Yeah.
This is a sister, you know, spoiler here. Come on. And they don't tell you nothing about her.
It
Like
fucking comes completely like a
out of
massive
nowhere.
shock.
So she
Yeah.
stabs him almost in the liver area, which is
Yeah.
sadistic in itself. So he should bleed out. And
Right.
and I forgot her name. What's her name?
Kelly, you on about it?
Yeah, Kelly, or her sister's name, right? You say the evil
Oh, his
sister.
sister's called. I've got it written down.
It's too bad because I forgot, because I remember seeing it in the credits.
Is
Because they
it
say,
Terry?
yeah,
Terry.
Terry, yeah.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
basically, like, yeah, I was gonna be you. I was following you since Dad broke me out of the since whatever Dad broke me out of the. I think it was the father that broke her out. I think
The sanitarium.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
it was.
sanitarium. And
And it's go
yeah,
it's
go ahead,
one of
Darren.
the-
I'll let you kind of finish this off.
I was going to say it's just one of the greatest twists in one of these.
I
slasher films.
admit, I did not see that coming. I thought it was her. I thought it'd be almost like a Giallo type thing, like think,
Yeah, I did.
think
Yeah.
the Stendhal syndrome, where you think it's like it's somebody else, but it's actually that person. Like Happy Birthday to Me. I thought it was her too until they realized it's the sister.
And even that, like almost the final shot, but you got Terry. She goes to kill Kelly, her sister, and then the mother saves her.
The mother shoots him, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Where you see that blank look on her face, where she said, "I had to do it" and stuff. And it's the scene like outside with
I think the mother
Him
gets arrested, then she's taken away.
He
by
does,
the
where
police.
she's just kind of sitting there. He's right next to him. It looks to
Yeah,
be okay.
yeah.
Then you see the actual dad getting taken off in the gurney. First off, a police officer. So the mom knows about what happened to the husband, because an officer
Exactly.
goes down to the mall and sees the blood coming down, which is funny, really. Sees it
Yeah.
like parked right there and sees the car, and then sees the blood coming from the trunk of the car. So I thought that was pretty good. So she knew that the husband was her husband was dead and stuff like that too. And yeah, the officer says, "It's time to go, Mrs. Fairchild." And she's
Great. Again, another kind of good final shot as well. Where
yeah, she's like looking down at him and stuff, and like looking
Yeah.
up, like, yeah, it's over with, like a true.
you realize like it's just all over.
The way like her friend is kind of carried off and stuff like that too. That's what makes it more terrifying, because she thinks it's like, whoa, what's going on? And she gets killed by the person who looks just like her best friend there. And I'm like,
yeah.
damn.
And it's never like. So I presume Kelly did Kelly know about Terry?
No,
No, because she lost all like
she lost all her
before.
memory. Yeah, from that, because it's a traumatic experience. So your memory goes blank. This happens in
Exactly.
real life when something traumatic happens. Yeah, you don't want to kind of remember that. And it's the sister, and you don't know nothing about her. You just know that she was put in a sanitarium, but you didn't know she existed. So it was her that set her
She
dad
was the
on
original.
fire.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's the one who set her dad
original one in
on
the dream.
fire. And then
So she's
yeah.
Kelly's kind of having a dream about her twin sister, and they say
Yeah, about her twin
twins
sister.
twins are connected,
Just like Madhouse.
you know?
It's so trippy, except in
Yeah.
Madhouse, she knows it's her sister. She's like, it has to be. And
Yeah,
with this one, I like the twist where it's like, oh shit, you can put that to sisters, like Brian De Palma's sisters. You can put
Oh
it in
god,
with that.
yeah,
Happy Birthday to Me automatically comes to mind. I know kind of maybe that's what the original directors were thinking.
it's got
for
that
this and
feel
stuff.
about it, haven't it? All
Yeah, it
those
has a great
films.
feel about it.
Just think of all those films that Chris just mentioned and put them into one, and you
Yeah.
like. I don't
did
think it's top tier for me. I don't know, but I'd probably. Well, let's see what you think, ratings wise. See what.
Like I said, you have the ending with some funky music. I always thought that was funny. Some music for the time. This one and Nightmare on Elm Street. This was it right here, kind of for the year, and that's when you saw MPAA start to go in there and start to change things. And yeah. So real quick, just thoughts on this film. I like it a lot. It is corny. There's a lot of shit that's corny.
It is, yeah.
Like some of the acting can get pretty bad. I'll just say that. Like, yeah, that's a great one right there. That's very good. It makes you think it's something different. This one makes you think it's something different. It just I did not think it was going to be a slasher. I thought maybe it was going to be a paranormal type of a thing. The way the trailer shows it all, and yeah, it's a great. It's a fun one. It's not like an end-all be-all type of one, but this is a fun one specifically this time of year because, like, say you have sorority party where they're all in costumes. I mean, come on, the one dude dresses up as a penis for Pete's sake, like literally.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
right next to her as a penis.
In his name Boner, or he's called Boner or something.
Yeah, it's called Boner, and I'm like, oh god. So yeah, they went all out with that. Like, say the bad rock group and stuff like that. I still need to watch Savage Streets. This one gets a 6.5 out of 10 for me.
Okay, you're probably on the same path with me.
Like I say, it's up there. This is a great double feature or triple feature with all the films we have mentioned. You can add this to anything and it'll work. The whole thing with the mall, I liked a lot. That's the best slasher I've seen in a mall probably ever. Next to a Chopping Mall. Chopping Mall is a little bit more survival slasher horror a bit.
That's my one blind spot is I've never seen. I've pretty much seen all the big 80s slashers, but I've never seen Chopping Mall. Okay.
That'll be a future. That'll be a future slasher.
Yeah, I'll be up for that.
That's a good Vestron release. But yeah, that's my my thoughts and review basically on this bad boy. Go ahead, Darren.
I would probably be the same. So I'd give this a strong 6.5 out of 10. And I mean that's put it into context that these are like cheesy 80s slashers. That's quite a good score, I think. I've got just a little bit. This film did play in the theater as a double feature with Texas Chainsaw Massacre in Illinois, which is that would have been a good fun.
Yeah, that'd be a cool. That's a fun double feature right there. That's like Grindhouse style. This does have a Grindhouse feel to it a little bit.
It does, yeah, and it was cut by a minute in the UK over the gore scene with Hunter Tylo's graphic kind of murder. Yeah, again, I mean, it's good going back to these because I would never put this on in a million years again, you know. Well, not in the foreseeable future anyway, unless we did this stream.
Yeah.
Final Exam more, so I'd probably watch that a bit more. No, it's great going back to these and. Like my love for the slasher, they're not nowhere near as big as my love for the giallo, I will say. But these are the ones that I grew up with and the ones that really got me into horror. And like the slasher just film in general, man, is just superb. All these kind of quirky slashers, like unheard of slashers and all that, they've all got something about them. They're not all like great, but they've got something that
they all hit that sweet spot. It just warms my heart. Like I said, it's great just doing these streams and just getting introduced to these. This is the first time I watched this, and I'm just highly impressed just with the whole thing. So it works out really good. So yeah, definitely.
I keep forgetting it was your first time as well.
Yeah, so it works out pretty good. Both of these really are highly rewatchable. It's funny, kind of stuff like this can be highly rewatchable. Like I said, you can see the comedy element start to come into films like this, specifically with you have Vera Miles boy, her appearance never changed through the years. She still, I mean, she looked then just as good as she did when she did like Psycho 2,
Yeah.
which is top tier all time slasher to me. And yeah, definitely very good. I would check this out if you can find this on stream and check it out. That's a nice Arrow Blu-ray there, Darren. I think that's out of print. It's definitely worth checking it out. I do have the IMDb page up, so we'll look at some photos of this bad boy right here. One in particular is a very good kind of initial kind of scene for that, and that's this one. That one looks pretty good. I like the red and stuff like that, how that looks.
I do have that. I think that's the old DVD cover. I have got that as well.
Stay young and die young. You gotta love that. Yeah, that's the that's the
I've got the candle as well with the on the theatrical poster as well. I got the one.
That's great.
That's a great candle.
That's a great double feature right there. That's funny they put this in here.
I love Mountain Top Motel Massacre as well. Yeah.
Let's get this.
There's Daphne Zuniga.
Yeah. It was quite pretty. Yeah, there she is here. Yeah, looking at the mannequin. That's great. You know, only thing she was missing was the scarf there. That would have been perfect. Yeah,
that was kind of weird, wasn't it? That they both kind of had the same thing on, but
yeah, I think they did that on purpose. Yeah, there's that scene right there.
There's a great shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
there's
right. Some gory kills, man.
That is kind of funny. He is a good method actor. He could play it quite good.
He died. He was 93, I think, when he died. Like fairly recently.
Yeah, early. Yeah. Yeah, there's that. That's an interesting scene when you really look at it.
Yeah,
from the way the shadow is. But
yeah,
there's the nurse.
It's quite dark in places, which surprised me a bit.
Yeah, she's
it is a fun campy. She is really gorgeous.
Yeah, there's Vera right there in that big goblet, man. She's all like, yeah.
She don't look much different to what she did in Psycho 2, you know?
No, she doesn't.
It's like a year. I know it's like a year different.
There she is right there. If you don't know, like they always keep her turned and stuff like that. I believe that's her right there. That's a trippy scene if that's the truth.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and like now once you know the conclusion, and go back and see if they give you any more clues. Like
RV Edwards and stuff. The posters right here. It's cool. Like kind of looking at these shots right here. It kind of works really good.
I love the sorority house stuff as well.
Oh, I love it. Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, there she is and stuff like that. And they're all looking up and stuff like that. She's the one with the number 7 jersey. She's the one that stays behind.
Right.
Of course, you have the one right here in that dress and stuff like that. That gown.
Yeah, she's
some scenes she looks like Jennifer Connelly from Phenomenal.
She's not conventionally pretty, but she is something about her like
that's
attractive.
Her basically without the makeup off when you think about it. Damn, that's so good.
She does play the dual twin quite well.
Yeah. Yeah, there he is. There's the the asshole you can say that tries to go out with her and stuff like that. It's like
he's the kind of a weirdo.
Like, I don't want to go out with her. She's like a slut or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Old school phones. That's great.
Yeah, Clue Gallagher there.
Yeah, there he is and stuff like that.
There's the guy we think is the killer, but he's trying
Freddy
to do
Krueger
good.
type makeup there. When you
and I've got to
it.
mention as well, he was covering up the killer girl's murders as well.
Yes.
When he came
yeah, that's what they're working together.
He's trying. Yeah, he was covering
so
her up.
That tells me that he was the one that killed the stepfather, and
right.
Yeah, that was done kind of like that. Yeah, there he is. I've seen him in other things. Yeah, she's like,
she's a bitchy nurse. Yeah. She gets her come up.
That's the opening right there where she has the dream, the start.
I'm surprised she didn't go on, Daphne Zuniga, to do big things, man.
My color eyes, those are hazel eyes. Yeah, she's quite pretty.
Do you know how long she was in Melrose Place for? Maybe it's
from
one
the
of those
start.
deals.
From the
there
start,
you go,
really.
That's probably
like I said, it was a takeoff from 90210 with the actress. I forget her name. She was in Jack's Back. That's another one we're going to be covering in the future, probably.
Yeah, Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, scenes like that. Yeah, her, the funky side chick. She passed away a while back. That was probably the one I was thinking of.
He looks completely different now, Peter. I did see a photo of him updated.
Yeah, like
Clue Gallagher looked like he died literally a year or two ago. He's 93 and he looked exactly the same. But what I like about him, he used to go to all these showings with Quentin Tarantino.
Oh yeah,
all these he was a horror movie buff. He There's the masks. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
different
great kill.
shots.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, they probably said
Almost like
just
the
take a picture.
Prowler, isn't it?
Yeah.
Notice that
Oh, a
shot
lot
there?
like the Prowler. Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks good. It's a good shot. Yeah, there's the nurse that dies there and stuff like that. That's a typical scene, showing it at the window and the dude's all like touching it to the
Yeah.
the other dude from the other side.
There's
Like
the
I say, just the
Eliza.
whole aesthetic when you look at that, that's so good. Kind of like opera a little bit, where you
Yeah, it's the isolation area, all the
you're out.
shadows, and
Oh
you
yeah.
know they're in a vast area when there's just not many of them and getting stalked. It's got a lot going for it, this film. I don't think it's as
There's
I
the
don't
scene
think
right there.
many
Kelly,
people
she's like,
mention
oh
it
God.
in blood. Yeah. Yeah, I love that image with the candle.
Yeah, the eye is a bit more visible than it is in the DVD that I have. But
Oh man,
that would kind of give it away a little bit of that and stuff like that too. And you see the ring right here too, which I think is funny.
right.
You
Yeah.
think it's a dude.
Oh God, I've not seen that.
That's hilarious.
That's the French poster, I think.
That
Yeah.
looks a lot Giallo-esque, to tell you the truth, the way that looks.
Yeah.
Then Ons, that's German.
Oh, is it German?
I think so. I see the Ons in the bottom there on Vinding Van or Von.
I think that's French.
Thy sister, darling. Oh,
that's
my blood is pledging.
I think that was an advertisement ad in Variety or something.
Yeah, because that's a different girl there with it. Plays himself young, stay young, and
There's
die
the
young.
original one sheet poster. Absolutely great.
That's a nice one. That's from the other side. Yeah, there's yours.
And yeah, the arrow art is pretty good as well.
Yeah.
I do prefer that, but I've not seen.
Oh, that's the sick one. Yeah,
I've not seen the VHS cover before. That's another embassy, then. Yeah.
Those are straight pictures and stuff like that. I think that's great that they do that back in the day. They're taking a picture there just for the heck of it. She's like, because she's turned around, she's like, and that looks different too. That's not blue, it's black.
I mean, some of those give away the whole film as well.
Yeah,
like
they
back
do.
to the VHS. I've got that version as well. So
Step
that's
into the cult arena. Oh, that's old school Arrow video.
That's the Arrow Cult DVD.
Oh wow!
Oh fuck! I forgot I even had that. I have really got that
nice.
somewhere in one of my boxes.
Yeah, that's a very good one. So
because that's right. Because I was stoked when they mentioned they were going to upgrade to blue. That's right.
Yeah, it's very good. So yeah, that's ladies and gentlemen, yeah, that's Slasher Stream episode 7. So yeah, the initiation, which is a great one, and the initiation, which is a great one, of course. Before that, of course, final exam. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, just your thoughts on both these slashers there, Darren, as a whole. For the generation that they're based in.
Yeah, it was great watching them as kind of a double feature because I put them on back to back. Yeah, just like I said earlier, I think Final Exam is vastly underrated. I think it's one of the better kind of college slashers. This pretty much played straight as well. I know there's comedy with the Wild Man character and all that, but I was surprised. The initiation did surprise me how much I liked it. I knew I liked it from before, but kind of warmed a bit more to it this time. So
it's always cool, like seeing kind of stuff if you have before a second time, and it's always kind of cool because I do think it's the love for nostalgia in this time.
I mean,
for,
the Slayer was the one for me, the completely, because I remember liking that, but when we watched it, I was like, shit, I love this film now,
Yeah. What's going on, Reed? Yeah, happy Friday.
Hey, what's up, man?
You too, my brother, fellow geeky friend there. Expect something geeky in the future. So, Darren, what do you have going on you and Dirk's channel and the other great horror channels that you're a part of?
Right. So, this coming Sunday is going to be kind of our Halloween special. So we're doing the Three Mothers. We've kind of hinted at doing this for quite a while now, and we wanted a special occasion to do it. I'm really looking forward to that. Later on now, I'm going to be watching those 3 films again tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going to be doing notes and all that. So keep an eye out for that Sunday night. The week after on Dead Pit and on our own channel as well, me and Dirk, we're going to be doing a zombie special. I think it's kind of coincides with the Day of the Dead Day in Mexico or something.
That's right, yeah.
Completely by chance. But we'll be doing 28 Days Later, Let Sleeping Dogs Lie or Sleeping Corpses Lie. and what's the other one?
I haven't seen like
Zombie
Sleeping
Free.
Corpses Fly. What
Yeah.
other one? I'm sorry.
Zombie Free.
Oh yeah, that's the one you and I have talked about.
Kind of Fulci and did a bit of it. So
yeah, he did a bit of it when he got sick, unfortunately. Yeah.
I got a couple of dead end shows on Visited by Voices network with Dan Shine and and Dirk as well. So keep a lookout for them when Lorne puts them up. I think
Love Big Dan and those guys over there, guys and gals. They do a great job on that network. Subscribe to Visited by Voices network. Yeah, watch the Dead End Drive-In. Watch Dan and Pugs and
Flesh Wound
Kruger
Features.
there. Flesh Wound Features, absolutely. They've done some great ones as of late. Check out all those dudes. Awesome guys.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Like you got Todd as well, the producer Todd. 4 brilliant guys of watching. Well, I think we're all watching their stream last night.
Producer Todd is terrific. Yeah. And some
that's
of them
a channel
are wrestlers too. So they're in the hardcore business. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a channel again that needs more views, man, because they are doing stuff every day for Halloween, So yeah, check them out.
Stuff. Absolutely, great stuff going on your channel. For mine, I'm spicing it up a little bit, so to speak, and stuff like that too. Slasher Dude Review. So it's basically my thoughts and review. I'm just changing that to Slasher Dude Reviews. Next up is going to be the horrible Dr. Hitchcock with the great Miss Baker in there and stuff like that, directed by the great Ricardo Frida. Expect that video in the future. Found Footage Friday will be coming back. Expect those videos in the future. Me and Darren have a stream coming soon on serial killers. Me and him are going to talk about that and get that out of the way, of course, like that. As well as Yalo Rex. He gave me 3 great ones to watch, and I'll be discussing that. We will both be discussing that in the future. Let's see. I have a lot of stuff kind of planned. Something geeky in the future and stuff like that. When all the my geeky boys are available to do that, expect that in the future, maybe sometime next month. And Hammer Time, next Hammer Time episode, I'm going to be talking about the quintessential Hammer films, and that's Hammer horror specifically. That's The Curse of Frankenstein and The Horror of Dracula. So expect that Slasher Dude review of Hammer up in the future as well. So great stuff going on. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I plan on doing. I just forgot. You may see me later on tonight on JT's channel on doing a watch along and discussion on All Hallows Eve. Since since Terrifier is out, and boy, that's getting a trippy release for 3 if you're willing to put in the money. But yeah, expect great stuff on this channel. Expect great stuff on the other channels. Thank you all very much for getting me up to 240 subscribers. I do this for fun. Don't want to be a partner or anything like that, but this is a passion. It's a fun project. And check out all the other horror channels. Like I say, check out Subjective Perspective Collective. Dirk and Darren, they do a great job over there. They have great guests on there. Check out Dead Pit. Check out those boys and all that other stuff too. Check out Kal-El Daily, who just dropped into the chat. What's up, my friend?
Hey, what's up, man?
Doing a future slasher stream with a slasher he just got or discussed about. And, oh God, Born to Be Rad Garrett, Pop's Movie Dungeon Brad. Oh God, all those guys. Sorry if I'm forgetting name. Anthony's Horror and More, Gizmo. All those channels. You all know about it. We all know about them in this great community. And expect future slasher streams here. We have a lot more we can talk about, and expect great stuff on all these other great channels. So thank you all very much for joining me on this Found Footage Friday, Freaky Friday, whatever you want to call it. And we will see you all next time. I am Chris C., the Slasher Dude. That, of course, is Mr. Darren Burrows. And we'll leave you off with these trailers one more time. You all have a great day, and we will see you awesome people next time.
Bye, guys.
Before the initiation begins, the subjects are studied. Even their dreams are recorded. Before the initiation begins, the testing areas are selected. The sorority house, the sanitarium, the empty shopping mall. And just before the initiation begins, a toast is required.
And to being young, staying young, and dying young.
At Lanier College, they have the finest security, the best teacher-student relations, no fraternity hazing, strictly enforced curfews.
Shh. What was that?
and a killer. He's come back. Final exam.
When are you going to realize that the whole world isn't